You're listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak. Bike Winnipeg, in partnership with the Winnipeg Arts Council Public Art Program, present ArtRide, a chance to cycle about the city and learn more about various public art installations. This evening, they explore the areas of St. Boniface and downtown, and to hear more about it, I'm joined by Bike Winnipeg Executive Director Mark Cohoe. Welcome to Winnipeg's Classic 107, Mark.
Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to have you here, especially ahead of such a fantastic-sounding event.
Yes, we have an art ride going through the St. Boniface and downtown tonight, starting at 5:30 from the old St. Boniface City Hall, 219 Provencher. And it's a great opportunity. We're going to go out and we're going to explore some of the public art that we have out in the city. And we've got someone from the Winnipeg Arts Council there to talk to us and really give us a bit more detail and more background on some of the art pieces that we'll see.
I definitely want to chat more about the details, and it really does sound like a wonderful way to spend an evening on the two-wheel or three-wheel bike, however you're getting around, and to learn more about some of these wonderful installations that we have here in the city. But I do want to chat very, very briefly about some concerning news that broke yesterday, upsetting news about another cyclist that was struck on Wellington Crescent. This comes just days after a memorial ghost bike ride in honor of Rob Jenner, who was struck and killed in a hit-and-run earlier this summer. Less than a kilometer away. It sounds like, thankfully, this latest incident, the person was all right. But can you speak a little bit more to that and the idea of cycling safety here in the city?
Yeah, it's always concerning. Really our goal is 0 deaths and 0 serious injuries. We've begun a road safety program in the city to work towards that, but ultimately we're still a ways away from it. We're building up our network, protected lanes, pathways, slower streets that we can get people safer on. But ultimately, we've built this city around cars for 70 years and really kind of not thinking about how people walk around the city, how people might bike. And, that leads to conflict, and that leads to things like what happened yesterday, unfortunately.
I know that this is a big part of what Bike Winnipeg does, right? Raise awareness and also advocates for cycling accessibility.
Absolutely, and certainly, we'd recognized prior to the tragedy on Wellington Crescent that's an important link in our bikeway, and we're working on kind of some design ideas. We really want to push that through. Certainly, the intersection at Academy is problematic, but River and Stradbrook. They're just completing the protected bike lanes on that section. Hopefully, within the next couple of weeks, they're quite close to done on that now. But we, ultimately, we want to see that extended further, get it to Harrow as the next step, which will include that intersection that had the collision yesterday. But also through an area that really, and this is an issue on Wellington Crescent where essentially the neighborhood has developed over the last 20, 30 years quite a bit, but we're still dealing with a roadway that really never anticipated the levels of travel, the level of turning traffic, the level of bike traffic. We have space, we have opportunities, and we can make something that really fits in the neighborhood, that manages the different modes. So if you're walking, you're biking, you're busing, you're driving, you'll have a way through there, a safe way through there. But we need to make sure that we're budgeting that we're moving those forward, and that we have the political will to make it happen.
Well, speaking of using the cycling infrastructure that is already here in the city, you're really kind of building that community by encouraging group rides, doing outreach, and also educational components like ArtRide. So Let's chat more about ArtRide itself. How long has this been going on?
It's a good chunk of years. I think it's 7 or 8 years that we've been doing this, and it's a really fun kind of way. Really, we look at it as a backdoor way to kind of get people acquainted with the bike network, to get them out to parts of the city that they might not venture out to. And really the thought is if we can get people acquainted with the bike network that exists, with some of the routes that maybe they're not thinking of. Maybe you drive down a roadway and you think, if I'm going to bike, this is the roadway I'm going to be on, but that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah.
So art rides and different group rides give us an opportunity to showcase some of what's out there and to get people comfortable and using it.
I noticed this past weekend there was an art ride down the Blue Line in the Fort Garry neighborhood, and people, may be driving down Pembina Highway and thinking like, oh, there's a little bike lane here, but just off it is this incredible Blue Line along the rapid transit corridor. I've ridden it plenty of times. There is a ton of incredible public art that is along there, but it's also just a beautiful ride too. So that idea of exploring the city and embracing that infrastructure.
It really is, and just on that ride, it was so thrilling to see how many people were biking up and down.
Yeah.
But we had a good sized ride too that was out there that was excited to learn about the artworks. And there are lots of stories, Certainly, you ride past them or you walk past them, and you see them, and you may or may not appreciate them. But I find that having done this now the last 5-10 years, learning about the artworks, I have a deeper appreciation of those artworks. And I get to see a little more in them when I go past them now.
So let's talk about some of the pieces that you'll be stopping at on tonight's ride. Again, taking you through St. Boniface, meeting at the old St. Boniface City Hall, then heading into downtown, accompanied by someone from the Winnipeg Arts Council, right? Just shedding a little bit of light on the pieces that you'll be seeing and the creators and the stories behind the work.
Absolutely. We've got Nathan Cron from the Winnipeg Arts Council who's been doing these rides now for 2 years with us. This is his third year kind of doing this. And he's able to give that history. We're going to see some works in the sculpture garden, St. Boniface, the statues of Louis Riel. We'll see something, can't remember the name of it, but in front of the grain building in the downtown. The 1919 streetcar, Bloody Saturday. We'll see that. So we get a lot of different artworks through the ride. And it's really... Nathan's able to provide that sort of storylines on what was the background of the artist on this and what are some of the different thoughts. And it's also an exploration of, what do you think when you see this piece of art and what does it mean for you?
How far are you going to be riding?
It's about 12.5 kilometers. So it'll take us about 2 hours because we're stopping pretty regularly. It's a very slow pace. So if you're worried you haven't been on a bike too much in the past, don't worry. We're not going to be going rocket speed here. You don't need your Lycra for this one.
Yeah. All ages, all abilities, that kind of thing.
All ages, all abilities. And we go at the slowest pace of the person. And like I said, make sure you got water.
It's going to be a warm one.
It's going to be a warm one again today.
Yeah.
And we're going to be starting at 5:30. You can register at winnipegarts.ca. Just look under public art and guided tours to get there. But you can probably also come, just show up.
And no cost associated with the event for attendees, right?
There's no cost. It's something we do through our outreach. It's something our membership and our donations allow us to do.
So as I mentioned, this past weekend, there was a ride along the Blue Line. Today, St. Boniface and the downtown. Looking ahead to the August long weekend on Monday, exploring the northern part of the city, meeting at Kildonan Park. There's a lot going on. If people are looking to follow along and kind of keep tabs on what Bike Winnipeg is up to, where should they go?
Your best bet is to subscribe and follow us on Facebook. But you can also look bikewinnipeg.ca. We have an events page that'll show you what's going on there, and sign up for our newsletter as well.
And not too late to register for tonight's ride. Should be a beautiful evening, a warm one, a hot, a humid one, but a nice opportunity to get out on the old 2-wheel or 3 and explore the city. Mark, thanks so much for being here this morning.
Thanks so much for having me.